Welcome to an edition of Boxinginfo. I'm your host, The Islander, and this is going to be the a quick results show and mostly a preview show of the upcoming fights this coming weekend. I know this show is late, but just have not had time to actually do this, and I'm going to push it now to get this up here and address different issues for different people. As a matter of fact, let me get on my page as I'm speaking. YouTube. The fight I want to go ahead and review right now was a couple weekends ago. It was supposed to be the grand finale of the Showtime Bantamweight tournament, in which case Joseph Agbeko was supposed to be taking on Abner Mares in defense of his IBF Bantamweight title to culminate that event. And we all know that that fight did not come off because Joseph Agbeko suffered from a form of sciatica in which one of his legs gave out, and the fight was called off. The show still went on, where Vic Darchinyan's consolation match against Yanni Perez was moved into basically the main event, and that fight itself was fairly a disappointment. I do want to point out, though, that it was a very good, solid performance by Vic Darchinyan, who, has not necessarily gained my admiration over the years, but I will say this: I am starting to warm up to the fact that he is able to recognize who his opponent is and how to adapt his style to that opponent. I know there was a lot of talk before the fight with him saying, I'm just going to abandon trying to box now, I'm just going to go back to what I was doing when he got himself knocked out against Nonito Donaire. But let's look at the different opponents here, okay? Against Agbeko, he was trying to do his normal thing and he got basically outworked, which was his plodding forward type thing. Against Abner Mares, he knew there was danger in the firepower coming back from Abner Mares, so he approached Abner Mares from a more tactical stance and lost a close decision that could have gone either way. Now Yanni Perez, he approached Yanni Perez with the fact that Yanni Perez has not scored a knockdown. He has over Agbeko, but it wasn't a legitimate knockdown, in my mind anyway, or a knockout or a stoppage at the world-class level. So there was questioning of Yanni Perez's power at the world-class level. Darchinyan went back to his old ways and just bowled forward through Perez, as you all know, knocked him down with a left uppercut and several combinations, and just walked through Perez's punches and just kept on landing his own until a cut basically stopped the fight from continuing, and they went to the scorecards and Darchinyan was comfortably ahead in a well-deserved victory. In my opinion, he was going to knock out Perez if the fight was going to go on. Very similar. This fight was following a very similar pattern to Darchinyan's fight with Christian Mijares, where there was nothing Mijares could do to hurt or keep Darchinyan off of him, and the same thing with Yanni Perez. Why did this happen? I've explained to some of you that on my channel, as well as my the preview video for this, that Yanni Perez expended so much of himself to wrestle that title away from Joseph Agbeko. I mean, it was a career-defining fight for him. He had a life and death struggle with this damn computer. A life and death struggle with Abner Mares, in which Mares got off to a quick start. Perez closed the gap and it looked like he was taking over in the middle rounds, and Mares got a second win, and I thought really, truly hurt Perez at the end of that fight, primarily with body shots working his way up. And I really think that if the two of them weren't friends outside the ring, I think Mares would have stopped him in hindsight. And obviously he got to keep his title on that draw, which probably a well-deserved draw for both fighters. It could have gone either way. And then his next fight was with Agbeko, who adjusted his style just a little bit, and it was enough. As I said, it was in the Mares fight that I think the fight has been beaten out of Perez, and he's never going to be the same again. There's something in that fight where he got hurt and he expended all his energy to try to get rid of Mares, and nothing happened. And as we know, Agbeko out-hustled him and outboxed him uniquely and wrestled the title away. So now we have Perez against Darchinyan, and this Yanni Perez was a shell of himself. And I'm hoping, I don't know if it's the weight or what it is that's caused him to, perform like he has in his last couple of fights, but it's not good. All right, moving ahead to the schedule. Let me address a couple of things, channel comments. Ring Warrior 12. I feel like jumping off a bridge head first every time I finish watching Storky's videos. Laugh out loud. All right, first off, you're entitled to your opinion. You've made other vast opinions. My patience is running very thin, and I'm not calling you out on the video or anything like that, because you do have time to time lend good insight. But finishing every sentence with laugh out loud doesn't make it okay to put some of these statements that you put up there. But that's just me. I'm just, I'm not throwing shots at you or anything like that. Trying to think of what, there was something else that I think it was Above Beneath had made mention, something about a fighter's speed. If it's not you, correct me, but I want to agree with something. I didn't write this down there. Was that I don't think I've ever seen faster hands on a fighter than Hector Camacho Sr. back in 1982-83. That guy was untouchable. As a matter of fact, the only reason why I know that is that here in Georgia, everybody's excited about a horse in the Kentucky Derby tomorrow called Mucho Macho something, and that just triggered that in my mind. Remember when Hector Camacho hit the scene, the Macho Man? It was just a big splattering. Any event, let's get to the schedule. We all know what's happening. ESPN2 is having a show at Las Vegas. Diego Magdaleno versus Gilberto Sanchez Leon. 10-round junior lightweight fight. Also Bernabe Concepcion for those Filipino fans. Taking on Juan Carlos Martinez, 8-round featherweight fight. And a few others on that card. Indio, California, though, on Telefutura, for those of you who have this network. Labrado Andrade taking on Aaron Pryor Jr. in a 10-round light heavyweight fight. Listen, here's what I see with this fight. If there's anything left in Labrado Andrade after what Lucian Butte did to him the second time around, this fight would normally on paper be a mismatch. But I think that they're gaining, that Aaron Pryor Jr. has gained a little bit of experience in some of his setbacks, and Labrado Andrade has lost 5 or 6 steps, and they think this is going to be competitive. But if Andrade has anything left like Eric Morales did, this fight on paper is a mismatch. Also, I guess Enrique Ornelas is fighting on that card too. All that stuff. But more importantly, tomorrow, the fight tomorrow. And we're going to try to keep this within a reasonable time frame video. Showtime pay-per-view, Top Rank production. There are going to be at least 3, if not 4 fights shown, and I'm pretty sure these are the fights that are going to be shown. Mike Alvarado taking on Ray Nar, 10-round junior welterweight fight. Alvarado's had some recent troubles, whether it's with the law or with injuries, that has kept him out of action. He was a pretty bright prospect. Personally, I think that I don't know. This fight's going to be a toss-up, and this could go similar to what happened to James Kirkland. I'm not going to predict that, but don't be surprised. I don't know much about Nar. Then next up, I believe, I'm not sure if they're showing these in this order. Kelly Pavlik's taking on Alfonso Lopez, 10-round super middleweight fight. I expect Pavlik to win this fight. He may have some rough spots in it, but his inactivity, his bouts with alcoholism, 2 trips to the Betty Ford Clinic, we'll see if it takes a toll on him. I'm a fan of Pavlik's. I think he's a blue-collar boxer. I think promotional and management issues, as well as, and I'm not blaming this on Top Rank, I'm blaming this more on a specific TV network that's forced him into certain fights that maybe they shouldn't have taken. At least one of them anyway, back in October of, I believe, 08 or 09, I don't remember when. So expect Pavlik to get back in the win column and get back to his winning ways. Then the fight that's really interesting is Wilfredo Vasquez versus Jorge Arce, 12-round WBO junior featherweight title. The deal with this one is Vasquez ready for the experience of Arce, and is Arce way too old and too worn-torn to deal with the younger fighter? Listen, I've seen Vasquez fight before. I even seen him in his 6-round fights, and there was one in which he was on a pay-per-view card that was headlined by Edwin Valero in a co-feature along with Jorge Linares, and it was in Mexico. I think maybe it was a 4-round fight, and I swear to you, I think the guy with like They was fighting with like 5 or 10 losses, won the fight, but you know, he's definitely come a long way since then. And I'm leaning in this fight towards Vasquez Jr. I just think the size, the speed, the youth is going to carry the day over Arce. You know, Arce can talk all he wants. He's looked absolutely horrendous in recent years in terms of being able to catch up with his opponents, whether it's even Victor Darchinyan, who's standing in front of him, or it was Christian Maharis, who boxed circles around him. I'd like to see him be competitive, but I'm not going to, I wouldn't wager anything on it. The fight can go either way. Let me put it to you that way, this way. If Arce catches him with something and he's carried his power up to junior featherweight, it could go either way. But I think that Vasquez, unless he gets careless, will probably win a decision in this fight. And that brings us to the main event, the super fight. And I use that term loosely, tongue-in-cheek, because this is Manny Pacquiao taking on Shane Mosley. Personally, I don't feel this fight should take place, but deferring to Bob Arum and Ted DeBuff of Top Rank, it's one of the better money fights that can be made out there at this present moment. Not to say that Juan Manuel Marquez wouldn't bring in more money, which I think he would, and I think he'd bring in more pay-per-view dollars. But in this instance, and where we stand with this, is that Mosley is a bigger one-punch threat to Pacquiao at 147 than Marquez is. Because I think Marquez can hit Pacquiao while his back is turned at 147 and still not do any damage to him. I'm being facetious, of course. But let's break this down. You know, the odds makers are the odds makers for a reason. And as I was looking at this, and I have a friend who's in Las Vegas right now who was gonna put some money down on this fight. Following what another guy who makes videos, and you all are familiar with him, Dwyer, was saying right from the get-go, was to take Mosley by knockout, which is, let me see what that, Mosley by knockout as of, I believe it was Tuesday or Wednesday, was 10-1 odds. The over-under was at 11 rounds. This is from the MGM Grand, from somebody who I have there on site. Told me that the over for the 11 rounds is plus 120. I don't even know what the under is, because the interest here is that whether or not Mosley to win straight up is plus 500, Manny Pacquiao to win straight up is minus 800. Not worth doing. But Mosley by knockout 10-1, and the over on the over-under, which is 11 rounds, is was plus 120 the other day. All right, here's what this tells me. Chances are pretty good this fight's going the distance, or it's going into the 11th or 12th round. The championship round, I should say, 10th, 11th, and 12th. I think that Pacquiao's going to win this fight. My hope is that it's competitive the way the Marquez fights were. Pacquiao has not had a competitive fight since the second Marquez fight. Mosley, on the other hand, although everybody's giving him this proverbial puncher's chance, I don't see it as clearly as some of the rest of you out there do. And I'll tell you why. He had Floyd Mayweather Jr. standing right in front of him, and he couldn't pull the trigger after hurting him early. Number two, he had Sergio Mora, who is less than skilled of the Mayweather-Pacquiao variety, and he couldn't put punches together against him either. The fight, if you really want to draw on, and a lot of people are saying, you know, if he's got the power, you know, like he did against Margarito, look, there's no comparison between Pacquiao in the ring and Margarito. Margarito was there to be hit. There were circumstances surrounding that fight that allowed Margarito to be destroyed like he was. Namely, him having to lose like 35 pounds in the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks of training camp. That was problem number one. He wasn't going to win the fight anyway. Problem number two, that whole distraction with the hand wraps thing. Don't throw the Margarito fight away. Throw even Pacquiao's fight against Margarito away. They don't tell anything. I've been reading a lot of articles about this, trying to find some minute way that Mosley can win this fight. And the closest thing somebody came was they looked at 5 of Pacquiao's key fights and 5 guys who had given him trouble and how they gave him trouble. And the ones they focused on was the first Eric Morales fight, where Pacquiao backed Morales to the ropes and Morales quickly exchanged fire and backed Pacquiao off and backed him to the ropes, and then the whole thing reset again and again. With Mosley, I don't think that's going to work. They also looked at comparing their fights to Cotto. Both of them got off the slow starts against Cotto. obviously Pacquiao changed the fight around a heck of a lot better than Mosley did. Now, also understand that Pacquiao got the post-Margarito version of Cotto, and Mosley had the fresher, undefeated version of him. But, you know, it's all good there. It's all evened out because you'd expect the results that we got. You know, Mosley lost a decision that could go either way. Pacquiao dominated a guy who'd been beaten down after getting off to a slow start and stopped him. Now, with this fight, with Mosley, the critical fight in the past few years to look at that's going to show you why he will not win this fight is his fight with Ricardo Mayorga. He won that fight in the very last seconds by a knockout. I thought he was winning the fight. Some people thought Mayorga was winning the fight. The situation is this. It's not the result we need to be concerned with. It's all of the terrible action that led up to that result, which was namely lack of it. And the reason why is that Ricardo Mayorga is very unorthodox, does have power, but throws crazy strange combinations from different angles. This threw Mosley off. Mosley couldn't get set. Mosley couldn't put his punches together. Mosley couldn't pull the trigger. Okay? This is the main complaint people had with him against Mayweather. He couldn't pull the trigger. He even admitted after the fight he couldn't pull the trigger. Alright, Mayweather's the exception. Okay? He's one of the, you know, surefire Hall of Famer, pound for pound entrant. Alright, we'll forgive that one. But against Sergio Moro, we can't. And I don't think that as dynamic as Mosley looked against Cotto or he looked against Margarito, it makes no difference here. And as dynamic as he looked in the second round against Mayweather, that was 2 punches he landed. And Mayweather was there right in front of him, and he still couldn't get the job done. So what makes people think that he's going to get the job done against Pacquiao? I've heard this theory that I've used in the past that the way to be a southpaw is with a good, hard, straight right hand. The problem I have with Mosley is he throws it with some type of an arc, whether it's around the side or over the top with an arc. Not as effective against the southpaw as, say, Alexis Arguello's straight right hand or Tommy Hearns' straight right hand, where it's almost like a jab coming out of southpaw from another southpaw. It's a straight punch that's coming through the middle. That is the way of basically neutralizing a southpaw, in my opinion. People talk about the feet, the left foot on the outside of the right foot. You know, that's all well and good. There's more than one way to skin a cat. But I always defer to watching Julio Cesar Chavez, whether he's fighting Jose Luis Ramirez, whether he's fighting Rodolfo Aguilar, whether he's fighting Hector Macho Camacho. He chugged forward, launching straight right hands, and then came underneath and up and under with the left, because he took away the southpaws. It took away their vision of the action of what was going on. Because the second the southpaws in their southpaw stance with their right foot forward or whatnot, and they're looking at, you know, the lead foot of the other fighter forward, their instinct, and this even to some extent, a little extent, goes for Pacquiao. Their instinct is to just set up either a jab or a parting jab and then the power shot. The problem is a guy with a good straight right hand like Alexis Arguello or Julio Cesar Chavez, is that as they're doing that, a straight right hand's coming at them, almost like it's a jab or whatnot. So either they've got to back away and reset, or they get hit with it, and then they've got to reset again, and it takes away their 1-2, setting up their 1-2, the jab left hand. They can't do it because a right hand, and Pacquiao has beaten many orthodox fighters the same way. He pretty much dispenses with the jab, uses it as a rangefinder, and it's who gets there first, his left hand or your right hand. And a lot of fighters, and even a lot of analysts on YouTube, have pointed this out. How often has it been that Pacquiao's fought against very good right-handed fighters? Not real often. I don't consider Mosley a strong right-handed fighter. It's his left hook. If you look at his fights against Mayorga and Fernando Vargas, and even with Oscar de la Hoya and several others, he did a lot of damage with his left hand. But with that said, getting back to Pacquiao, the last time he fought a very heavy-handed right-handed fighter was Juan Manuel Marquez. Juan Manuel Marquez throws straighter right hands than Shane Mosley does. And with that said, he was able to reset Pacquiao over and over again. Basically, what this is like, if I can explain it to those of you who Imagine right now, go into your computer while this video is playing and hit Control Alt Delete. What's going to happen? It's going to stop the video from running is what it's going to do. That's what happens in this sequence. If you ever watch Julio Cesar Chavez fighting Camacho or Aguilar or any of these southpaws that he fought, he would hunt them down, come in with his stance, and dispense with the jab and just fire straight right hands at them, and then come under with his left hook and up under. I mean, I've never seen somebody neutralize Hector Camacho like he did until, Camacho was he was worn out by that time too. But what I'm saying is, it's like hitting Control Alt Delete on a southpaw if you can do that successfully. Juan Manuel Marquez did that successfully to Pacquiao for long periods of the fight. Shane Mosley, I don't think is going to be able to. And even executing that little trinket of knowledge isn't going to guarantee you're going to withstand the barrage that Pacquiao is going to put on you. Here's the other reason why I think Pacquiao is going to win this fight, and probably win. I think a unanimous decision is what I'm thinking, but I'd be very surprised if he stops Mosley. I'd be very surprised if Mosley stops Pacquiao. Only because I think that Mosley is going to have his moments where he lands, and maybe, who knows, maybe even score a knockdown, I don't know. But he's not going to be able to put 2 or 3 or 4 punches together on Pacquiao. I just don't see it. 1 punch, yes. 4 or 5, no. And I think with a better case, you'll know how this fight's going to go after the first 3 or 4 rounds, is what distance they fight this fight at. Because what's going to happen is if you see Mosley look like he's going to engage, Pacquiao get off his punches, and Mosley backing out of the range of those punches so he doesn't get hit more than once or twice, the whole fight's going to follow that pattern. It's going to follow that pattern. I think Freddie Roach knows the dangers of Shane Mosley, and I don't think, I could be wrong, I think that a safety first fight, unless Mosley presses Pacquiao, is what we're going to see. I mean, Pacquiao will probably approach Mosley the same way he approached Clottey, the same way he approached Cotto, and the same way he approached Margarito, with cautious aggression, unless Mosley forces him to do something, and that's what I'm expecting. I think that this fight's going to be interesting for a while. I hope and pray that it's as competitive as the Marquez fights were, to kind of salvage this in-house promotion type thing, because I've already heard rumors that, and read stories that, an offer has already been made to Juan Manuel Marquez for later this year to fight Manny Pacquiao a 3rd time at 147. Here's the thing about this. Juan Manuel Marquez's promotional contract with Golden Boy Promotions has expired, but they have first right of refusal to any offer made to Marquez. So, from what I understand, Top Rank has sent Golden Boy an offer to Marquez, because no matter what happens, Golden Boy is going to have the right to beat the offer or what have you. So the silver lining here is those of you who want this fight are probably going to get it if Pacquiao beats Mosley, and it looks like the two companies are going to be able to work together amicably on it. The other point of news, now that we're, just so you know, you do know that I took basically Alvarado, Pavlik, Vasquez Jr. slightly, and Pacquiao by a unanimous decision, which would get you your money if you bet the over. Another point of interest, this past week in the junior welterweight division, Amir Khan and Timothy Bradley had a deadline to get contracts signed for a proposed fight this summer for supremacy at 140 pounds. Here is the problem. After digging into this, when Timothy Bradley and Devin Alexander fought each other in that horrendous fight in the Silverdome back in January, they were contracted to, HBO had basically first dibs on their next fight, which was a guaranteed, I think, $1.3 million for both the winner and the loser in their next fight. And the thought process was that this fight would be so good that they could get them both to fight a rematch, and they both get $1 million payday. Well, they were wrong. Nobody wants to see the two of them fight again. Devin Alexander has lined up this fight Lucas Mathis for his $1.3 million. Is he deserving of it? I don't think so, but that's the way the contract was, and that's the way it's going to play out. I'm not complaining. Timothy Bradley still has that same clause. Now here's the problem. Amir Khan is ready. Amir Khan is available. The fight to make the most money should take place in England, but it's not. And in the United States, there is uncertainty over, after what happened with Bradley Alexander, whether or not Bradley and Khan are going to be able to sell too well. HBO is on board with paying Bradley $1.3 or $1.4 million as stipulated to fight Khan. The Bradley people think that the Khan fight is worth more. Personally, I kind of agree with them. And the argument here is that Bradley can fight some lesser fighter, like a Marcos Maidana, or Lucas Mathis, and still make the $1.3 million, and then get more for fighting Khan later. Here's the problem with this. Khan's not going to stay at 140 forever, even though Bradley can. Who's at fault here? It's our favorite TV network. Who do you think? Who guarantees two guys a $1 million payday in their first fight off of meeting each other? Why would you do that? And now we're stuck with the situation. They're going to pay Devin Alexander $1.3 million to fight Lucas Mathis. All right, it was stipulated. I'm not going to complain about it. But now this sticking point, because it's, even in my mind, it's worth a bigger payday for a guy who's unified belts in this division a couple of different times to be taking on the star quality, Olympic star quality fighter in the division. And I kind of side with Gary Shaw and Bradley on this one. HBO's got to find him an opponent that they agree upon, that fits that price range. You see, think of your Devin Alexander. Lucas Mathis for $1.3 million. Didn't take 2 seconds for them to agree to that. It's a little bit different on the other side. And I'm just saying, this is why TV networks need to be basically diminished and downsized in some regards to keep stupid things like this from happening. That's going to do it for this show, everybody. I'll be back next week with the results. Take care.